This is Camnet Television News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Our top stories in the news tonight. Parliament rejects motion to reintroduce Ministry of Religious Affairs. Former First Lady Esther Lungu tells court that her properties were genuinely acquired. UPND distances itself from suspected cadres demarcating trading spaces behind SIMOSON building. In international news, Niger president held in coup attempt. And in sports news, Copper Queens booted out of the World Cup.
Hello Zambia. Greetings to all soccer-loving Zambians. I'm Dr. Stenkusi from the Czech Republic, and I will bring with me soccer agent Mr. Jakub Skibik and the coach Mr. Pavel Ondrečka, both from the Czech Republic as well. The Football League in the Czech Republic is a qualitative and competitive league in the world. Knowing that, there are a lot of highly talented footballers in Zambia. All of us will be visiting Zambia from the 2nd to 6th of August 2023 in partnership with Camnet Football Academy. Agent and coach will come to Lusaka, Zambia to look at promising young Zambian players. Chances are that hard-working players may get engagement in the Czech Republic and including other European leagues. We look forward to seeing you at the tournament, which will be organized by Pastor Moses Chiluba of Camnet Television. See you soon!
Now, Camnet Television news in detail. Kanyama constituency member of Parliament Monty Chinkoli says the alleged demarcation of trading spaces by suspected political party cadres behind SIMOSON building did not have the blessings of the United Party for National Development UPND structures. On Monday, police had to move in to stop a fracas which occurred after an attempt by cadres to allocate trading places to displaced vendors in the alley behind SIMOSON building opposite City Market turned violent, leading at least to one car being damaged. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Chinkoli has advised vendors hoping to set base in the constituency to seek guidance from the Lusaka City Council LCC or Chinika Ward Area Councillor to avoid illegalities that may deteriorate into violence. More in the following report.
This is footage from social media showing the aftermath of Monday's crash between two camps of political cadres as another group opposed their colleagues moved to allocate vendors trading spaces at a fee. This is the alley behind SIMOSON building opposite City Market in Lusaka. As vendors scramble for trading spaces, a group of cadres believed to be from Kanyama constituents, Chinyika area, took advantage of the situation to allocate trading spaces. However, the move agitated their counterparts from nearby Chiwodia who felt left out, resulting in the crash. One of the traders from the shops in front of this alley who witnessed the crash spoke off camera. Reacting to the incident, Kanyama Member of Parliament Moti Chinkuli says the suspected United Party for National Development UPND cadres had no blessing from the leadership.
I'm aware of the crashes that were there at City Market, where people were trying to share the plots where they want to do the trading and the like. Follow the laws. If indeed it's the cadres who were planning to demarcate and give plots to one another, I think it's unfortunate. That is something that should not be condoned. That is very sad, actually. And if the party structure, of which I believe is not aware, It's just people who wanted to do whatever they wanted to.
Mr. Chinkuli has since advised vendors in need of trading spaces to follow laid down procedures.
What I want to say is the running of the market is the council's mandate. So it's the council that gives a guide as to when, where, and what should be done at a particular place. So if the individuals would want to trade, I think it's just right to follow the laid down procedures.
It is only hope that authorities will move in to put in place measures to avoid illegal elements taking advantage of some desperate vendors. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula.
Some refugees in a named location in Lusaka have bemoaned the poor living conditions, accusing authorities of neglect. The refugees claim to be living in unsanitary conditions with sewer effluent, food shortages and delays in dispatching medicines for the sick. The aggrieved refugees say efforts to engage authorities under the Commission for Refugees have proved futile. A check by Camnet News at a house in the undisclosed location within Lusaka learned that the refugees are staying up to 9 in a room, including children and the sick. Meanwhile, Mbumwaye Nyambe of the Catholic Commission for Justice and Peace, CCJP, has bemoaned the living conditions of the refugees, calling it a violation of human rights. When contacted for a comment, the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security Commissioner for Refugees was not available. Details in the following report.
So this situation here in refugee is worse than the war which we escaped from there.
Lamentations, a search for peace gone badly. He is a refugee from the Democratic Republic of Congo, brought into the country by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees to Maheba refugee camp in Zambia's northwestern province. Now in poor health, he is in Lusaka, at this location that has been withheld to seek medical attention at the University Teaching Hospital, UTH.
The UNHCR leadership here, they are extortions. They do coming out here to intimidating us and to threaten, to taking provisions and so forth. That's what we have experienced. So for you, we call the media so that people they may aware why we are living here as refugees here. We are in misery.
Life is unbearable due to poor living conditions, food and medicine shortages. His wife and children are nowhere to be found.
3 children and my wife, they have escaped because suffering because of no food. No food.
His colleague from Somalia is sleeping in this room with his family. In total, 5, including children.
I'm 33 years refugees without life. Now, even we fear now this report we are giving you because might be another problem. Now we need Zambian government to take action for us. That's what the main things. We have seen the life we live. We can't work. We are sick people here. Now we need the help from Zambian government. That's the main things. Yes, we are seeing the situation we live. We no need even to explain.
In this room, 9 people, a couple with children. The man cannot speak to the camera as he is afraid of authorities. This reporter was told by his colleague, whom he confided in a foreign language. The living conditions of the refugees here has concerned the Catholic Commission for Justice and Peace, CCJP.
It's not good, it's not fair. And think they won't even lose 1,000 kwacha, it's less than that, to come and clear these things. We are requesting through the PS, who is in charge of the Ministry of Home Affairs, to come and to the rescue of these individuals. Yes, they are refugees, but when they are refugees, it doesn't mean that you don't have rights. They have the right to health. So let's respect this right to health as well as to clean environment. They are refugees. Me, I'm a Zambian, and even if I surface my country, I don't feel that pain. But somebody who comes from another country, don't have a relative, you don't have a friend, it's really hectic.
Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Commission for Refugees was not available to comment on the situation. This is yet another chilly reminder of human suffering. Conflicts on the African continent continue to bleed. Many countries, even the peaceful ones, such as Zambia, though in a position to help, have their own struggles. For now, these refugees can only wait for help. When it will come, only time will tell. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula.
Former First Lady Esther Lungu has told the Economic and Financial Crimes Court that she acquired all her properties genuinely, contrary to assertions by the Director of Public Prosecutions that they are proceeds of crime. In an affidavit filed before court, Mrs. Lungu argues that the DPP is not an expert witness, that is neither qualified as an auditor nor an accountant to analyze her financial information and make conclusions or render opinion to her income or expenditure. She has admitted that the property the DPP is seeking to seize are her matrimonial properties and were developed by the former president, Edgar Lungu. She claims the accusations are another attempt by the state to label herself and her family as corrupt. This is in a matter where the DPP has commenced proceedings before the Economic and Financial Crimes Court, the High Court Division, wanting the court to order the Lungu's properties be forfeited to the state. More in this report.
The former First family has lamented before the Economic and Financial Crimes High Court Division that following the August 2021 general elections, it has been targeted by numerous law enforcement agencies and have been victim of false criminal activities. According to an affidavit of an interested party filed in opposition to notice of motion, former First Lady Esther Lungu tells court that she genuinely acquired the properties that the state seeks to take possession of. In June 2023, the Director of Public Prosecution filed 4 notices of motion for an application of non-conviction-based forfeiture, order of tainted property pursuant to Order 30 Rules 15 and 17 of the High Court Rules, read together with Section 29 and 31 of the Forfeiture of Proceeds of Crime Act, number 19 of 2010. The proceedings that have been instituted by the DPP are seeking that the former First family forfeit their properties that the state is alleging to be proceeds of crime without being subjected to trial. However, in the latest submissions filed before court, the former First Lady has claimed to have acquired the properties genuinely, contrary to allegations by the Director of Public Prosecutions that the same are proceeds of crime. Among the properties the DPP wants the family to forfeit to the state are the 15 flats that belong to the former First Lady. In 2022, the said 15 flats saw the former First Lady being summoned by the Drug Enforcement Commission. The former First Lady has further argued before court that the DPP is not an expert witness and is neither qualified as an auditor nor an accountant to analyze her financial information and make conclusion or render opinion to her income or expenditure. She has submitted that the property the DPP is seeking to seize are matrimonial properties and were developed by her husband, the former President Edgar Lungu. She claims the accusation by the DPP are another attempt by the state to label herself and her family as corrupt. She has further submitted that the state has failed to demonstrate with sufficient evidence that the properties in question are alleged proceeds of crime, as it has not produced any evidence which the court can reasonably point at that the said properties are proceeds of crime. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chibweli has rejected former Kabushi Area Member of Parliament Bowman Lusambo's application to refer his alleged corruption case to the High Court for constitutional determination. In the last court session, Mr. Lusambo refused to take plea on grounds that he was going to be subjected to a piecemeal prosecution before different courts in the matter that falls under Section 135 and COUP 1 of the Criminal Procedure Code. He is facing 2 counts of corruptly acquiring property. He took plea Wednesday morning after the court dismissed his application to refer the matter to the Lusaka High Court. More in this report.
Former Kabushi Area Member of Parliament Bowman Lusambo has pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of corruptly acquiring property. Mr. Lusambo took his plea Wednesday morning, the 26th of July 2023, after Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chibweli rejected his application to refer his case to the Lusaka High Court for constitutional determination. In a ruling delivered this morning, Magistrate Chibweli said he found no question which would warrant him to refer the case to the High Court. In the previous court session, Mr. Lusambo, through his lawyer Makebi Zulu, had made an application before court to refer the matter to the High Court. The application was based on whether the mitigation of spreading charges across different courts can afford fair trial in terms of Article 18 of the Constitution as read together with Section 135 of the Criminal Procedure Code, arguing that the new charges that the state have slapped Mr. Lusambo with ought to form part of the charges before Magistrate Friday Samaundu because they fall within the provision of Section 135 of the CPC because similar charges must be tried by the same court. The accused had expressed concern that he would be subjected to a piecemeal prosecution before different courts in a matter that falls under Section 135. The accused, who is already facing 10 similar charges of possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime before a different court where he is jointly charged with his wife, argued that the new charges were supposed to be tried by the same court. However, in reply to his argument, Anti-Corruption Commission Senior Prosecutor Daniel Nguira submitting that the new 2 corruption charges before Magistrate Chiwudi will not in any way subject the accused to an unfair trial. The matter has been adjourned to the 20th of September 2023 for commencement of trial. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Parliament has rejected a motion to reintroduce the Ministry of Religious Affairs and National Guidance. Petauke Central Member of Parliament Emmanuel J. Banda raised a motion to reintroduce the Ministry of National Guidance and Religious Affairs. But the acting leader of business in the House, who is also the Minister of Defense, Ambrose Lufuma, said government does not support the reintroduction of the Ministry of Religious Affairs, saying the department already exists. The motion was, however, settled through a vote which saw 79 members, mostly from the right, vote against the motion, while 49 members of Parliament on the left supported the motion. Here's a report.
Wednesday, 26th of July 2023, it was tense in Parliament as Petauke Central Member of Parliament raised the motion to reintroduce the Ministry of National Guidance and Religious Affairs. The mover of the motion contended that following the scrapping off of the ministry, the country has seen a rise in immorality, with ideas relating to same-sex marriages being allegedly given prominence among the vices of a secular economy. Members of Parliament from the left defended the motion, while those from the right debated against the motion. Point of orders and counterpoint of orders. The debates were characterized by point of orders and counterpoint of orders from members of the ruling party and those from the opposition, which were later halted to allow the smooth flow of the debate.
We can be more united as a nation. We can love one another in diversity easily. With Madam Speaker, there can be less corruption and we can create a better country. I wish to support the motion.
Speaker, I want to state on the onset that I oppose the motion that is on the floor of the House.
And Monze Central Member of Parliament, Jack Lumbu, said it was at a time when the Ministry of Religious Affairs was in place that the country witnessed atrocities against the people of Zambia. And it was at this point that some members of Parliament from the Opposition Patriotic Front and some independents walked out of Parliament in protest.
The Minister of Religious Affairs never spoke against that. What morality are you talking about? Madam Speaker, during the reign of PF, we witnessed...
Order, honorable members, let me give guidance.
I'm responding.
Order. The honorable minister is responding to the issues that were being raised by this side. He's just responding. May the honorable minister continue.
Yeah, you can go. You can go.
And acting leader of business in the House, who is also Minister of Defense, Ambrose Lufuma, said government does not support the introduction of the Ministry of Religious Affairs, saying the department already exists.
I wish to state from the onset that government does not support this motion. Madam Speaker, this position arises from the fact that the new Dawn United Party for
the National Development Administration, whilst in opposition, promised that it would streamline the operations of government through a lean but efficient and effective government.
And the Petauke Central lawmaker, J. Banda, was also given an opportunity to wind up debate.
Madam Speaker, we have seen today who are the hypocrites, who can come here in this house and say, me, I'm a Christian, even during campaign, busy every day changing churches. That's why we don't see them after campaigns being in churches. But we leave it, I forgive them, we leave it in the name of the Creator.
The motion was however sorted through a vote, and 79 members, mostly from the right, voted against the motion, while 49 members of parliament on the left supported the motion.
They abstained 0, the yes 49, the no's 79. The no's have it. The question is negative.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Economist Yusuf Dodia has alleged that the International Monetary Fund (IMF) financing has no economic benefits in Zambia, as it is targeted for social protection and strengthening of governance structures. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Dodia says despite the IMF releasing $188 million United States dollars in Zambia, its impact has not been felt on the economy, and that the Zambian kwacha has continued to depreciate. He says that Zambia has a low revenue stream of foreign currency, and that as long as this challenge is not addressed, the kwacha will continue to be unstable. Meanwhile, the Zambia Institute of Policy Analysis and Research (ZIPA) research fellow Ignatius Masilokwa says Zambia is a mono-economy which has limited the stability of the kwacha, hence the need to move to a more diversified economy. More in this report.
Despite the Zambian government clinching the debt restructuring deal and the International Monetary Fund (IMF) releasing $188 million United States dollars from the actual $1.3 billion bailout package to the Zambian government, Zambia's local currency has continued to depreciate in the past months, which has seen the cost of living increasing to record high of national average 6,783 kwacha, and in Lusaka province above 9,200 kwacha, according to the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, JCTR. Economist Yusuf Dodia, however, says the IMF financing has no economic benefit to Zambia, as it is only meant for social protection and strengthening of governance.
Money from the IMF is going towards supporting the operations of our parliament so that we can enact good laws. It's going towards strengthening the operations of the Anti-Corruption Commission, the Drug Enforcement Commission, the Financial Intelligence Center, the Public Prosecutor, the National Protector, and the Police Service, to make sure that these issues of corruption, which has led us to have a foreign debt of something close to $16 billion, should not happen again. So we should not expect any economic benefits out of the IMF funding, because it's going towards structures, strengthening structures of government.
Mr. Dodia has since called for measures that will address the challenges associated with Zambia being an import-dependent country if the local currency is to show some aspect of stability.
Why is our kwacha not getting stronger, and why are commodity prices going up? And quite clearly, the reason why the kwacha is deteriorating is because we have a low revenue stream of foreign currency. Zambia is 80% net import dependent. We need foreign exchange every day to import the products which you find in our shop.
Meanwhile, the Zambia Institute of Policy Analysis and Research (ZIPA) says the continuous depreciation of the Zambian kwacha can be attributed to the fact that Zambia is a mono-economy and has called for a diverse economy if the Zambian currency is to be strengthened.
For a country really to achieve sustainable exchange rate stability, you need to rely so much on the structure of your economy. Currently, Zambia is a mono-economy, meaning we depend so much on copper the export of copper. So copper is our major foreign exchange earner. Whatever happens to the demand as well as prices of copper tends to affect the stability as well as the strength of the kwacha. If you want to achieve long-term stability in your foreign exchange, you need to ensure that you move away from a mono economy to a more diversified economy.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Government has assured all stakeholders that it will quicken the process of implementing the national policy on anti-corruption to ensure that corruption is fought in the country. Speaking at a stakeholder validation meeting of the national policy on anti-corruption in Lusaka Wednesday, Ministry of Justice Permanent Secretary Administration and Governance Tandiwe Oteng says the validation workshop has been held against the backdrop of the government's principle of inclusive and wider stakeholder consultation for input in developing legislative and policy documents. Meanwhile, the Anti-Corruption Commission SEC Director General Tom Shamakamba says the Commission is aware that it cannot successfully fight corruption without the involvement of everyone. Hence the importance of evidence-based policy formulation, which leads to the development of interventions that speak to real issues affecting the public. More in this report.
State actors and non-state actors from the civil society organizations Wednesday convened in Lusaka for a validation meeting of the national policy on anti-corruption, a tool that has been formulated to fight corruption in the country. In Transparency International Zambia, TIZ says corruption is an evolving phenomenon and that the national anti-corruption policy should respond to this contextual change.
Interventions arising from the policy that is not in tune with what is on the ground usually are ineffective. It is from this point that we want to express our concern as non-state actors that the current policy, which should have ended in 2015, has taken an additional 7 years, exceeding its implementation period.
Speaking when she officially opened the meeting, Ministry of Justice Permanent Secretary Administration and Governance Tandiwe Oteng has assured all stakeholders that once the document is validated and submitted for adoption to the ministry, her ministry will work swiftly to ensure that the tool is quickly adopted.
We are committed to ending this process within a short space of time. It will not go beyond end of year. Just to assure you that we are committed to finalizing this policy within a short space of time. The objectives of the validation workshop are to: 1. Present highlights of the draft policy based on the submissions made during stakeholder consultations. 2. Review and get feedback on the contents of the two documents. 3. Facilitate some general agreement on identified issues that are reflective of effective national anti-corruption interventions.
Meanwhile, the Anti-Corruption Commission Director General Tom Shamakamba says the national policy drafting process requires that the views of all stakeholders are taken into consideration to ensure that the principle of inclusivity and stakeholders' participation is attained.
It is our hope that the partnership demonstrated during the policy drafting process will go all the way into the successful implementation of this policy. I therefore urge you all not to take the drafting process as an end but as a means, as we still have the whole lot of work to implement the measures that directly address the root causes of corruption, including particular instances of corrupt practices.
The stakeholders have since participated in the validation process by reviewing the policy, making changes and new submissions to ensure the document tallies with the current times. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Transparency International Zambia, TIZ, has expressed a concern that the number of cases analyzed by the Financial Intelligence Center has been reducing over time and thus limiting the increase in the number of cases disseminated to law enforcement agencies. According to TIZ's analysis, the 2022 report shows that the center received 5,745 reports but analyzed only 155 cases, representing a paltry 2.7% of reports received. And TIZ Executive Director Maurice Nyambe says this is compared to 211 reports analyzed in 2021 out of the 2,577 reports received, representing 8.2% of the cases. He says the 2022 report has less depth than the report immediately preceding it, which was also the case with last year's report. The corruption watchdog calls on the FIC to provide an overall report on the status of cases disseminated to law enforcement agencies following the 2021 Trends report.
From an overall point of view, we are very concerned that the number of cases that have been analyzed by the FIC has been reducing over time. Certainly when you look at the last 3 years that we have seen this report being produced. So this particular one shows that only 2.7% of the reports that were received actually proceeded to be looked at by the FIC. This is against 8.2% that we saw with the report for 2021, and I think the one for 2020 had 16.1% or something like that. And so what this shows is that certainly over the last 3 reports, we have progressively seen a reduction in terms of the total number of cases that are looked at, and we think that this is a very big area of concern for us. It's a worrying trend which probably could point to the fact that there are some weaknesses and gaps that are making it difficult for the FIC, to deliver on its mandate in that sense. And so we would like to call on the new board that was recently appointed, not to leave any stone unturned in terms of addressing addressing the underlying financial and even technical challenges that could be responsible for this worrying state of affairs. Because what you want to see as we go forward is that you'd like to see the center doing a lot more work in terms of the cases that it analyzes. And so if the numbers are reducing year in, year out, then it points to something serious that is happening, and we do hope that the board will be able to provide that strategic oversight and direction that will help the FIC to be effective and effectively execute the mandate that it is called to execute.
This is Camnet Television News. Join us for more news after this break.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice too, me.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. REINGLOW, your smart irrigation partner.
Hello Zambia, greetings to all soccer-loving Zambians. I'm Dr. Stenkusi from the Czech Republic, and I will bring with me soccer agent Mr. Jakub Skibik and the coach Mr. Pavel Ondrečka, both from the Czech Republic as well. The Football League in the Czech Republic is a qualitative and competitive league in the world. Knowing that, there are a lot of highly talented footballers in Zambia. The all of us will be visiting Zambia from the 2nd to 6th of August 2023 in partnership with Camnet Football Academy. Agent and coach will come to Lusaka, Zambia to look at promising young Zambian players. Chances are that hard-working players may get engagement in the Czech Republic and including other European leagues. We look forward to seeing you at the tournament, which will be organized by Pastor Moses Chiluba of Camnet Television. See you soon!
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Lumezi Town Council Chairperson Oliver Mwale has warned all beneficiaries of empowerment under the Constituency Development Fund (CDF) not to spend the resources in bars and nightclubs but for its intended purpose. Mr. Mwale says those who have been selected to benefit from the financing were carefully selected and the government has confidence that they will pay back the money. The council chairperson, who spoke at the handover ceremony of the 2022-2023 CDF Empowerment Loans Disbursement, has reiterated that the CDF loans answer to the cry of many citizens regarding challenges in accessing financing to boost their businesses. Lumezi Town Council has so far paid out a total sum of 6 million kwacha empowerment loans to 48 beneficiaries that submitted workable business plans for both the year 2022 and 2023 Constituency Development Fund (CDF).
The opportunity is in Darama, Sindarama za MP, Sindarama za council chair, Sindarama za councillor, Sindarama za DC, Nindarama za imwe mwabantu. Boma ya chalirizi ndrama tizingale zatu. Izindrama tizisebenzese. Kuliba chino yine I'm connected to the council chair just because the council chair is there. So imwe wose tili hapa, we were picked on merit. Tina kitapwino. Ma proposals yatu yalali yapwino. Ma proposals yatu ni workable proposals. When the bank went through to scrutinize, wanapesa ati aya ni ma proposal yakwe. So we are expecting family mnalembera ma proposal. It is the same way manje msaitota implement ndarama izo mkatenge. Not proposal yenda oku ndarama chendo mwera mo.
Patriotic Front Chilubi constituency member of Parliament Mulenga Fobe has charged that it was unprofessional for the Inspector General of Police Grafael Musamba to insinuate that the PF recruited junkies into the service. Mr. Fobe tells Camnet News that it is an insult to the integrity of some credible men and women in uniform who are professional in their conduct. He says he is, however, cognizant that there are bad eggs in the system, but that it was not right for the police chief to utter such a statement. He says PF members of parliament do not feel protected by the police given the perception that Mr. Musamba has about the former ruling party.
I think when you talk about recruitment is at different levels, sir. And I think when we talk about recruitment, we are not just talking about a corporal here or somebody coming from Relay or Sondela or any other place, but we are talking about different ranks. Because if the PF elevated some of the police officers during their tenure, which was 10 years, and meaning that those were recruited to higher ranks. And recruitment, what recruitment means is that you are bringing in a person in a different job. Could be someone who was a corporal is elevated to sergeant and so forth. That's recruitment. So what the IG said was quite unfortunate because he would have taken due diligence in looking at his statement and the weight that it has in the institution that is learning. And I think this also goes to different institutions that may get as excited as, that statement we saw. I think I would like just to caution that next time the IG may not sound that political because we are even afraid that if the IG can sound that partisan, are we going to have good policing from his institution? Because it seems that the way he looks at PF in a very bad eye. And I think looking at that, we would like to be saved. We also need police services because it's a service, and I think we are also citizens.
The Food Reserve Agency, FRA, has paid out 595,945,280 kwacha to farmers that delivered Grade A white maize during the ongoing crop marketing season. The total quantity of maize purchased so far, as at 25th of July 2023, is 146,948.50 metric tons. This is equivalent to 2,938,975 by 50 kilogram bags of white maize. FRA Public Relations Coordinator John Chipandwe says the response from farmers is encouraging and is encouraging other farmers across the country to deliver their crops to the nearest FRA depots as payments are made within the shortest period of time since funds are available.
The Food Reserve Agency has paid out 595,945,280 kwacha to farmers that delivered Grade A white maize during this year's ongoing crop marketing season. The total quantity of maize purchased so far, as at 24th July 2023, is 146,948.50 metric tons. Now, this is equivalent to 2,938,970 by 50 kilogram bags of white maize. The agency so far has noted that the response from farmers is encouraging and is assuring other farmers across the country to deliver their crops to the nearest FRA depots as payments are made within the shortest period since funds are available. Further, farmers are assured of accurate scales that have been certified by the Zambia Meteorology Agency. We also, as FRA, wish to remind farmers that as the harvesting season progresses, they should not sell all their produce, but only what is excess, and after putting aside a variety of food for domestic future consumption. This is due to the fact that national food security begins at household level. The excess harvest can thereafter be delivered to any nearest FRA depot, and the agency will buy the stock and keep in the national strategic food reserves for future use as a nation. This will facilitate national food security. Therefore, we are urging farmers to adhere to this guidance for the country to continue being food secure.
Chikankata Member of Parliament Jacqueline Sabao has expressed dismay at the rate at which construction works of a 1x3 classroom block at Dundu Secondary School in Upper Kaleya Ward are going. Ms. Sabao was speaking when she toured the school to appreciate the ongoing construction works of a 1x3 classroom block under the CDF at a cost of 850,000 kwacha. She said she is disappointed to find the work, which was set to be completed last month, is still at window level. Ms. Sabao further directed the contractor to pay the workers who claimed that they had not been paid their salaries. She said the failure to pay workers was affecting their output towards the project. She directed the contractor to complete the school project in 1 month. And Ms. Sabao has appealed to all local contractors in her constituency to deliver quality works that will stand the test of time.
Given a contract, the policy of the New Dawn government were told that give contracts to the local contractors, first priority. If we don't have a local contractor, we go to the next district like Mazabuk, we extend, we go Monze to provincial level. So now you as a local person, if you are given an opportunity, you are supposed to do your best so that, because this is not the end, we are just starting. So that we even as a council, we're going to have a database of our local contractors. Because there are certain contracts where we don't need to advertise, we do single sourcing. We just say, no, this contractor is good, we worked well with him during this project, so why don't we just call this person to come and help us? But the way we are doing it, because I've made a lot of complaints, we've had meetings over this project. To the point, me personally, I had said, can you cancel that contract? So now, if you local contractors are our own people and supporting us, what are we going to do? When you start giving other people from outside Chikankata, you say, Chikankata Council are not helping our people. No, because despite giving the local contractors, we are also looking at quality. This school should be there for a long time. The next generations should come and use this classroom block by you doing the right thing. And the right thing will only be done if the employees are motivated by paying them what belongs to them. Then even the work will progress. Yes, if they set down tools, then the work will stop. Because according to the information I have, that this project was supposed to start on 10th March, and it's a 3 months project.
We'll take a second and final break. We'll be back with international sports news after the break.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RENGLO, your smart irrigation partner.
Hello Zambia. Greetings to all soccer-loving Zambians. I'm Dr. Stenkusi from the Czech Republic, and I will bring with me soccer agent Mr. Jakub Skibik and the coach Mr. Pavel Ondračka, both from the Czech Republic as well. Football league in the Czech Republic is a qualitative and competitive league in the world. Knowing that, there are a lot of highly talented footballers in Zambia. All of us will be visiting Zambia from the 2nd to 6th of August 2023 in partnership with Camnet Football Academy. Agent and coach will come to Lusaka, Zambia to look at promising young Zambian players. Chances are that hard-working players may get engagement in the Czech Republic and including other European leagues. We look forward to seeing you at the tournament, which will be organized by Pastor Moses Chiluba of Camnet Television. See you soon!
And the news continues. Now in international news, presidential guards in Niger have seized President Mohamed Bazoum and blockaded his residence as well as key ministries. Despite fears a coup attempt is underway in the West African country, no shots have been heard. The African Union has condemned events, describing them as unacceptable. The President's office tweeted that the guards unsuccessfully tried to get support from the military in their anti-republican efforts. One unnamed source told AFP the move was a feat of temper by troops. Reports had said the immediate former President Mohamed Issoufou and other former leaders were involved in talks to stop the situation from escalating, but it is not clear if those talks are still taking place. A source cited by AFP as being close to the president said that the talks had broken down and that the guards who have refused to release the president have been issued an ultimatum by the army. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
Niger's presidential guards on Wednesday sealed off the residence and offices of President Mohamed Bazoum. A source close to Bazoum said, describing the move as a feat of temper by the elite troops in that talks were underway. Access was blocked off to Bazoum's office, home and offices in the presidential complex in Niamey, although there was no abnormal military deployment or sounds of gunfire in the area, and traffic was normal, according to local reports. The landlocked West African state is one of the most unstable nations in the world, experiencing 4 coups since independence from France in 1960, as well as numerous other attempts on power. Speaking on condition of anonymity, a source said it's a feat of temper by the presidential guard, but talks are underway with the president. The source further confirmed that the president is fine and safe, including his family, who are at the residence. The reason for the tension was not given, with the details of the talks not known. Bazoum, who was democratically elected in 2021, is a close ally of France. The country's last coup occurred in February 2010, overthrowing then-President Mamadou Talla.
A spokesperson for Senegal's government on Tuesday justified the lifting of security around the Dakar home of opposition figure Ousmane Sonko, a candidate for the 2024 presidential election. Sonko was sentenced to prison on June 1st on charges of corrupting youth. We've seen that all of Ousmane Sonko's trips have resulted in break-ins, lootings and deaths. To avoid this, the state has taken preventive measures by restricting traffic in the Kourgorgui district. Today there are no more calls for insurrection. There's no risk of disturbing public order, so there's no reason to restrict traffic in the Cité Kourgorgui neighborhood. Sonko's sentencing sparked widespread protests across Senegal, the country's most serious unrest in years. As I've always said, questions of arrest, that sort of thing, are judicial matters, even if the prosecutor reports to the Minister of Justice. There's the availability, as you mentioned earlier, of the decision, but then there are other questions about timing or that sort of thing, which depend on the public prosecutor. Sonko's supporters have denounced the prison charges, including a May 8th sentencing for defamation, as a ploy to prevent Sonko from running in next year's elections.
It's now time for sports news, and in our sports news tonight, Zambia's maiden appearance at the FIFA Women's World Cup has ended disastrously after losing their second game by 5-0 against Spain. The Copper Queens lost to Japan by a similar margin in their opening encounter. Zambia will face Costa Rica in the formality match before they return home. And President Hakainde Hichilema has called for improvement of the Women's Football League as well as more high-level friendlies for exposure. Mr. Hichilema has hailed the team's performance, further calling for building on the experiences lent. And coach Bruce Mwape described the team's performance as good. He says the team played better than their opening fixture against Japan.
My observation and conclusion, I think we played well. We did our best, but it's just that our defense was a little bit poor, in the sense that the coach could have done 1 or 2 substitutions just to reinforce the defense and the midfield. You leave a player in the 18-yard alone who was supposed to be defended. You don't leave a player in the 18-yard alone. So that to me meant our defense was not that much good. That's why we managed to concede 5 goals. Yeah, going forward we can do better than we've done today, if only we get back to the drawing board. Possibly try to introduce even new players. Also, we should learn, you know, where the game we are playing is an international game, so we've got experts there. Those are international players, whoever was playing there. So going forward, even our players should be able to learn to read the opponents and the game.
To end Camnet Television News, top stories once again. Parliament rejects motion to reintroduce Ministry of Religious Affairs. Former First Lady Esther Lungu tells court that her properties were genuinely acquired. UPND distances itself from suspected cadres demarcating trading spaces behind SIMOSON building in Lusaka. In international news, Niger president held in coup attempt. And in sports news, Copper Queens booted out of the World Cup. Our comment verse of the day is coming from the book of Matthew 1, verse 21 to 22. She will give birth to a son, and you are to name him Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. Now all this took place to fulfill what was spoken by the Lord through the prophet. Again, thank you for watching Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Good night.